nations. These are the children of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You'll see that Ham had a lot of children. Well, they all kind of did, but they add up to 70. Now, those are just 70 males. Obviously, they probably had females too, but here they list 70. And what I find interesting about that is when you turn the page to chapter 11, it says, and the whole earth was of one language, whole earth, all intermingling with each other in the plains of Shinar. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And that's where they hooked up with a guy by the name of Nimrod, and they built a city. It takes a little while to build a city. So they were all interbreeding, intermarrying, and hanging out with each other for quite some time. They built a tower. Now, first of all, you'll notice it says they built a city and a tower. They built that in a valley, the plains of Shinar. So clearly they weren't too concerned about height. I don't believe that God was freaking out because they built a tall building. God didn't get all upset and nervous when we built the World Trade Centers and the Empire State Building. No, I think there's a little bit to that, the whole reach into heaven thing about heaven being this far away and other dimensions Chuck Missler talked about and Gary Stearman. They were creating an interdimensional portal. And apparently whatever they were trying to do, they could have done. Because if you continue reading, it says, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they imagine to do. So apparently whatever they're trying to do was at least possible. And if you read the other texts, Nimrod basically divided the people up into 3 camps, and they all had a little job to do. One camp was going to assault the people of heaven with swords and spears. One group was going to go in and kill God, and the other group their job was to set up their gods in the Holy of Holies in heaven. And God rewarded them accordingly. There's a very interesting story about that too. We'll talk about that in a minute. So God divides the languages. And a lot of the ancient Hebrew texts say, and even the Bible itself in Deuteronomy talks about the nations were divided according to the children of Israel in one translation, according to the sons of God in another. Basically, the belief is that they were divided into 70 different languages, 70 different people groups. There's about 1,500 people. Obviously, not everybody had a different language. They had 70 languages, and they went in groups. But what's really interesting there is it says the Lord came down to see what was going on. And basically, it's like there's a little wrestling match started right there. God's like, okay, yeah, you want to play? All right, fine. I'll tell you what. You take 69, and I'll take 1. Odds are in your favor. Give it your best shot. Let's go.